in the upper right for the Shopify Rebellion, taking a fantastic 3-game series against the Laser. It's ByuN.
And his opponent, spotting down on the bottom left, creator of the Bong Cloud, it is Mark uThermal Schlappy. The Bong Cloud build is such a funny concept, and the name is just perfect for it. I love it so much. I actually just think it's so funny.
It's that actually makes me wonder though. So I read a web serial that is really fantastic. It's called The Wandering Inn, and there's a very heavy chess theme within it. And at one point, one of the characters, they develop a Bong Cloud opening, which is just all over the place. I mean, it's a really it works because it shouldn't work, but it makes me wonder whether the author is a Mark Schlappy fan, whether with the cultural I'm forgetting the word I'm looking for. The cultural dominance that StarCraft provides is leads its way into even the Wandering Inn. I don't know, probably not.
Oh, of course. I mean, StarCraft is love. StarCraft is life. That's just how it is. There's nothing else beyond that. We are seeing uThermal. Actually, he does open up with a 2 racks here, and he delays his orbital command. Do you normally delay your orbital command this much with this? I feel like this is not exactly ideal, having it delayed this much. That's going to be in a much later mule.
You do delay it a little bit to make sure you get the second barracks as quick as you please. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens here, because I feel like at least normally uThermal would proxy one of these barracks at the very least. And part of it is Waterfall is a really short map, so you're able to get away with this just a little bit more. But Reaper's going to find its way into the main base here. It's looking for that SCV that's building the factory. But Steadfast, I know we've talked about this a lot whenever we talk about TVT, but we're going to talk about it again. There's a reason that the Barracks Double Gas Factory opener that we see right here from ByuN is so popular, because yes, it can get a lot of value if your opponent goes Reaper Expand, but if you happen to be playing against Mark uThermal Schlappy and he decides to go insane zany aggression, well, it can hold it for the most part. But oh, look at this positioning. Reapers are going to go down. That's actually good. Fantastic 88 charges. ByuN, he wiggles out, and the Reapers, they're going to look for a surround. But ByuN, he's going to rotate on over right side. He's going to find a Reaper. He can't take this fight either, but at least maybe he can trade 1 for 1. That answer is no. So 4 Reapers on the map.
Oh. What? I mean, he's at least gonna lead this Reaper. Oh my God, no, there's no way. There is no way. But he forces all the Reapers back home, and that will give him time to finish up this Cyclone. He's gonna start up a siege tank here, which is, I honestly feel like, pretty bold, because he's currently got a Cyclone and a Marine on the map. And as I started that sentence, the Marine was not there. This is very scary.
It is. I mean, Cyclones are great against this, but also they only last so long. So Reapers are going to dive on top. There we go. Every lock on, of course, is 1 dead Reaper. And it's not a lot of damage on the Cyclone, but I feel like I want to see him just repair it anyways, because, again, you're going to just keep tickled more and more. And I mean, I guess maybe he has a little bit of time to wait, but certainly now with the tank ready, the Reapers run into that grinder, and well, it's not going to be all that great. There we go. 1 shot, 2 shot, SCV now very low, and ByuN has secured it. Feels like, at least, has secured his core 2 bases. Of course, uThermal, his command center, only halfway done.
Yeah, this is already a nice little lead for ByuN. He's up a couple of workers. It's going to expand to maybe a 4-worker lead by the time that orbital command is actually done for uThermal. This is a really nice start for ByuN. uThermal tries to either 1, catch a proxy 2 racks and get an auto win against that, or 2, get a little sneaky and get something done with the Reapers on the other side of the map. But ByuN doesn't fall victim to it, and he's actually gone for a very quick Banshee. This is something that can be very effective in this matchup because it's so uncommon and because it's traditionally weak.
It really will depend on whether uThermal opts to move out on the map with a Cyclone, which on a small map like this would not surprise me, but it seems like he's got a good read on it, or at least he's opening himself up to the perspective of the possibility of a defense by just patrolling the Cyclone there on the left side. ByuN's going to run in. He's going to say, oh no, I got a problem. And actually, look at this. Nice positioning here. He's going to be able to delay the 3rd base for just a little bit, but lock on there means at the very least There we go. Okay, good luck on this, but ByuN's going to be able to pull back in time. At the very least, it does delay that third command center just a little bit. So uThermal, natural a little slower, third base just a little bit faster. But the game does go on. And the other thing we got to point out, you spend a lot of gas on a Banshee like that, stim for ByuN is rather delayed.
Yeah, it's more like I would say uThermal stim is very quick as a result of that 2 racks. And he's trying to get some value out of it right now. He's not able to get too much done. It does delay the the Banshee does delay his Viking production and of course his Raven production. So both players are just on a singular Raven right now. But look at this, we're seeing uThermal. He is going to be going for a bit of a modified 2-1-1 right here. He's going to have 13 Marines. By the time these 2 medevacs pop out, he should have a couple more. Oh, Banshee. Well, that is a big waste of a Banshee right there. Just flies it right into some Marines. That's not what you want.
It has been banned. She has been banned.
That's precisely.
There we go. Figured it out. And so, okay. Stim is now done, as you said. 13 Marines are, I guess... Yeah, no, that is actually 13 Marines in a medevac with a Raven as well, which is the nice wrinkle in the 2-1-1. Normally, you got 16 Marines, but in this case, 13 Marines in the medevac with the Raven, with, by the way, the 6 Reapers that are still active on the map here. As ByuN looks to move out, and this is... He's got a lot of tanks steadfast, so... Well, he's actually just going to be out of position because uThermal stimming right or streaming, boosting right into the main base here as all the tanks are at the third. This represents a lot. Oh, good luck on the Raven, but that just buys time. And there we go. Disable on the Cyclone. ByuN has to rotate his way on over. 13 Marines with stim. That is nothing to take lightly. So ByuN has to pull his SCVs away. 5 workers go down just yet as now Marines find their way on in. Reapers on the right side. They're not able to find their way just yet. And actually, ByuN's going to handle this really nicely as the tank seized up. Yeah, it's not really going to get all that much more. And Reapers... They're not quite the saviors of this game that uThermal was looking for.
No, they certainly are not. They get forced back, suffering a fair bit of a beating right there. They will regenerate up. The one thing I will say is that ByuN lost his Raven when he really didn't need to. He just kind of flew it into the Marines. Otherwise, that's a phenomenal cleanup for ByuN. If he'd kept that Raven alive, it would have been even better. We are going to see the Reapers coming on in here. They will be able to grab 4 more SCVs. So now finally getting some value. And ByuN, he's actually got a lot of SCVs just sitting there from a rally in the main command center. He is definitely struggling a little bit. And uThermal gets some nice work done right there. And he's looking to continue to pile on the aggression. He is down 4 siege tanks and 5 Vikings to 0, so he needs to find something with this commitment to early medevacs.
Let's see. So he's killed 16 SCVs of ByuN's throughout the pressure in this game. He's gotten a Raven, and those are the key things that this pressure has really... I mean, maybe you talk about losing a Marine or 2, but those are the key things that this pressure has provided uThermal in this game. Does that make up for being down 4 tanks and being down a Viking count? I don't necessarily know, but it means he's certainly not out of it. And uThermal, because of the value he's found, he finds himself just up a couple workers.
It's certainly not worth it. Absolutely not. Not unless you can get more done. Now, this is what you need to get done with those medevacs. He is going to drop into the natural. Will be able to get into a good position. But is ByuN on top of it too quickly? I don't know. He's going to lose a couple of SCVs. Oh, and actually, some of the friendly fire coming in will end up being 10 dead SCVs. And I think that was enough. He even got another tank, it looks like, on the backside. And meanwhile, he's going to drop in on the right side as well. But here we see, oh man, actually a lot of SCVs are starting to fall. uThermal is really starting to get in under ByuN's skin.
Oh man, like a tick, he's just digging in there, sucking out all the insides of ByuN's hopes and dreams in this game. 21 workers have died, the lifeblood of the Terran economy. We're going to stop with that metaphor because that's starting to make me feel sad. But what we do have to point out, of course, ByuN, his upgrades, his stem slower, his +1, his 1-1, much, much faster. But
yes,
he's still down 20 workers. The army supply is not really where he has a lot. He's sitting on 8 Marines. 8 Marines still do die to 22 Marines regardless of what happens.
Yeah, but if the game does go long, those upgrades are super crucial, as is that Viking count. Now, ByuN needs to find ways to stabilize, and obviously he has uThermal threw a lot at his opponent, and you can't continue to throw away units constantly. Eventually, you will just run out of stuff if you're YOLOing forever. But he has certainly claimed a lead, and at this point, he needs to catch up on upgrades. He needs to maybe think about a starport transition. He needs to find ways to make his economic lead stick. and make it have an actual lasting impact in this game. Because as it is, the more time that passes, it's going to be ByuN who comes out ahead with the faster upgrades and the, all-important Viking lead.
Yeah, and I'm gonna quote a famous coach from a different esport here, in that there was a Chinese team, and anyway, he would say, if you go and if you cannot go high ground, your lead is false, and that is often the case in TVT, where you have these big supply leads. Like, okay, great, but it is so easy to turtle up with tanks that these leads. They don't tend to go and they don't always mean that the game is an actionable lead. And then we see these players come back, and we do know steadfast that ByuN, he's a fan, he's a friend of Ryung, he's a friend of Maru. And you want to talk about two players who are the best in the world at turtling a TVT out to bring themselves to the late game where they feel confident. Well, I think I just mentioned those two names.
Yeah, and the Korean Terrans, they do share a lot of ideas, and that's going to be very helpful. Now, uThermal, make no mistake, he's got like a tempo lead right now, but what has he done with it in the last 2 minutes, 3 minutes? Not much.
He's got a fourth base on the way now, and actually that's another thing we got to talk about. Yeah, it's a 10-worker lead for uThermal over ByuN, but steadfast, let's be real, that is not 10 workers worth of income lead. It is a little bit more, because you certainly do mine more with, say, 24 workers on a mineral patch than 16, but it's diminishing returns. So uThermal, by being so slow on getting this fourth base, that's the advantage I think he should have looked to find, but it really is not one that he really has found for the most part. But there we go. Starports are on the way. He will be able to have enhanced Raven production or enhanced Viking production, whatever he wants. But it just feels like he's a little bit too slow on the uptake of actually seizing that advantage.
Yeah, and I like that he's going into the second armory right now, but I really feel like he could have found himself in a phenomenal position instead of just like, a pretty good one. ByuN did lose a lot of his 3-3 timing upgrade here, his 3-3 lead upgrade, or his 3-3 timing lead. Yes, that's the one. But he is going to find, both medevacs, and that's a lot of supply he's about to clean up basically for free. And now the army supplies are one in favor of ByuN.
Now, the good thing here is uThermal did not have his entire army in medevacs on a corner. Every time I see that, I just flash back to, what was it, 2014, 2015 Bomber Pult back in the corner on, I think it was Frost. Just like the instantaneous Bomber loses every single medevac. He loses his entire army, Pult wins the game, and has this massive comeback in a WCS North America Finals. That flashed through my head. Anyways, uThermal now, fourth base on the way, building 3 Vikings at a time, and I do like this. Getting +1 air is such a big deal. When we talk about these Viking wars, it does allow you to find comebacks when you are down Vikings, but it's 11 Vikings to 7, so uThermal just owns the sky, and it's gonna be damn difficult for ByuN to ever really be able to bring that one back.
Yeah, ByuN did not really keep tab on his opponent's Viking count. Now, part of that is because, uThermal kept it hidden. And he did go up to the faster second and third starport. He doesn't have any add-ons for it, so there's no Raven transition coming in, and he's actually getting into Liberators right now. We are going to see, ByuN kind of catches uThermal unsieged a little bit here. Does pick off a couple of tanks, will lose a few Marines on the backside, but he gets as many as he lost. And yeah, that was 3 tanks that just got picked off in favor of ByuN. Really, really nice find right there. uThermal never started 3-3.
I don't hate that, actually. When we talk about going into the late game, it really is not the bio upgrade. Okay, super late game, you run out of gas. Then it is just, who can build more Marines with my big mineral bank that I have left over? But in general, it really is not about the 3-3 Marines. It is about the tanks, and it is about the Vikings, and it is about the Ravens. So if you just want to find yourself in the late game as quick as you please, ooh, that's a quarter to run around ByuN, but he's going to have enough bio anyways, knocking down, forcing a cancel there on the 5th base. And now with high ground position, that's a lot of Vikings that he's going to be able to snap down here. ByuN with a wonderful position, but now he's got to be run back because it is still 11 Vikings. Well, actually 11 Vikings to 11, but it feels like uThermal has more here. And again, with +1 air, the Vikings are just better.
Yeah, the +1 air is really, really huge. ByuN trying to pick off some of his opponent's Vikings right here, but he's going to be sent back by the superior numbers of uThermal. uThermal with a really nice fight right here. ByuN needed to give up this position instantly, but instead he sticks around, takes a really expensive set of losses right there. That went amazingly well for uThermal. He just won super hard in the air. He won very hard on the ground, and now he is ahead in everything except that 3-3 versus 2-2 setup.
Yeah, but a bit of a blunder from ByuN, as he, again, that's not a fight he wants to take in the middle of the map, and now the Liberators are pretty much uncontested, so uThermal will be able to just inchworm his way forward, leapfrog his way forward into this third base of ByuN. That being said, it looks like for the moment, not a ton of Marines. Yes, uThermal is streaming more in, but maybe there's a world where ByuN looks for some sort of surround and try to get on top from multiple sides, but as the Marines continue to stream on in, I don't really think that world exists anymore, but again, the economies have equalized. ByuN has 3-3. uThermal only has 2-2. A lot of the Vikings, actually, of uThermal have died. It's now 5-4. So ByuN, yeah, he's down 8 workers, but it really doesn't feel like that worker count is consequential in any way, shape, or form just because of how the bases have mines. So ByuN, he survives. His army supply again falls, but it's TVT. If you can't break through, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. You did mention earlier, by the way, the upgrades. It's now +2 weapons for the air. Oh, that tank getting a pretty... Oh, will he get any kills? Hey, he gets 1, so it'll be 1 for 1. +2 air weapons, +2 ship weapons versus 0-0 for ByuN. This is a really big problem, especially because those Vikings attack twice. We even have the +1 air armor coming in, air and ship and vehicle armor. Yeah. Oh, 3 Vikings, take them. Okay, he doesn't take him. But we are going to see actually just more Vikings here for ByuN at the moment. But more coming in for uThermal. That is going to allow him to take this out. He's actually going to crack this position with the tank. uThermal can move this tank up and now start, all these tanks, and now start heavily threatening this planetary.
Yeah, but you got, ByuN on the other side, he's gonna find a tank. And,
God.
Nope, he's not gonna find anything on that side. Now he's actually really heavily down in supply here. Not even repairing the, yeah, he's just gonna give it up. He says, it's not really worth the cost for me right now. But on the bottom side in 3 o'clock position as well, this main base planet, or this main base orbital that ByuN floated on over, it's gonna come under some threat. A couple workers have died. He gets the Vikings as well. And now it does feel like we're starting to hit the point where, we were talking about earlier, well, does the supply lead really matter? It feels like it's starting to now because uThermal massively ahead in income. He has a better army technically with all these Vikings, and he was able to actually push through ByuN. He was able to knock that 12 o'clock position. So unless ByuN maybe finds some commensurate damage, even still, if it feels hard, it does feel like uThermal's really taking this game by the horns.
Yeah, he certainly is at this point, and it feels so difficult to push through any point on the river. I feel like the way uThermal is positioning his tanks right here is brilliant. He knows that ByuN is probably the one who has to make some kind of moves happen. So he is going to set up these tanks and prevent ByuN from just slipping past. The only thing about this is a couple of boosted medevacs could be very dangerous. So uThermal, oh, look at that. He's going to drop a couple of missile turrets. I love it.
And uThermal is playing this game so intelligently. It really is impressive. Also, I do want to point out here, ByuN, yeah, he understands that his upgrades for the air are just never going to come back. So he's getting +2. He's getting +2 mech weapons, which is nice. It does mean that tanks one-shot Marines, of course, so any number of Marines. But ByuN, you got to stim on that one. That is just not good here. And now uThermal with this round, but Vikings actually boosted medevacs on the left side, knocking down a lot of these tanks. But here we go, Vikings Liberators. Yeah, this is that exploded. uThermal, up 1.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about with those tanks. That was the move that ByuN needed to make, and uThermal predicted it like a minute in advance, was so well set up for it, and those tanks just massacred so much of that army. Thank you, uThermal and ByuN, for making me look like a genius, because that was totally by accident.
We'd love to see it. Also, we got updates, Steadfast, and Scarlet's up 1-0 on Hero. If Scarlet wins this series, and again, no one's knocked out, but if Scarlet wins this series against Hero, that will be literally the first PvZ that Hero has lost a series to in, well, since King of Battles in like 3 months.
That would be wild. If it was Raynor and then Scarlet that capped this period of absolute and utter dominance in the matchup, that would be very, very cool. And oh man, that would be actually pretty awesome, I gotta say. From like a fan, just a fan of StarCraft 2 and like a fan of equity, I guess, across the regions, because you would then have an Italian player and a North American Canadian player, buffeting the Korean dominance. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, it really does feel, and who knows? Maybe we're wrong. Maybe we do have a Korean win this tournament, but it really does feel like with Katowice this year having not a single Korean in the finals for actually I think 2 years in a no. There was a Korean in the finals last year that Rainer or in 2020 that Rainer did beat, but or the 2021 Katowice. But not having a Korean in the finals for the first time and I think ever in Katowice and now this, it does feel like we have hit utter parity between the regions, which is really cool. Just kind of sad that it has happened so late in StarCraft's history.
Yeah, it's cool. It is really cool. It all started with Cyril taking down BlizzCon 2018. And since then, I mean, to be honest, I feel like they've been able to, mostly the top Koreans, the top Europeans, but they've been able to compete with the best Korea has to offer, and it's been cool to see that constant battle, that constant war going on between the scenes.
Behind the scenes. Or the scenes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's some joke there that I'm making about production that is really not landing because it's not even funny to me. But Data C is going to be game number 2. uThermal's up 1. Steadfast. Does ByuN have what it takes to reverse sweep again? Or is it going to be the Mark Sloppy 2-0?
That is a very important question, and we are going to answer that in a very short period of time here. So we're going to game number 2.
And here we are, folks. Maybe for the last time in Group Stage 3. Hopefully not. He is uThermal.
And his opponent looking to rally back. It is the Shopify Rebellion's ByuN in the blue. We got a gas first out of uThermal here. Okay, no doubt. Cool. Gonna be a 1-rack expand? I'd be down. uThermal is one of those players that will play a little gutsy. We saw it already in game number 1. He honestly seems like he's playing very fluidly. Versus Scarlet, he executed his game plans extraordinarily well. He obviously beat ByuN in the first series. He looked very, very clean, very strong in game number 1. I was critical of him not teching up fast enough, but he still got the job done and eventually, wrested the Viking control out of ByuN's hands. But this is actually weird. We're actually seeing a gas first double gas out of uThermal. This is a very outdated build.
Yeah, it hauled back. I told you, yeah, I'm like, the medevac's getting caught there. You always think of Scarlet or a Bomber Pult, at least I do. But gas first double gas into tech heavy builds. Well, that is also from that era. We saw ByuN playing 4am Parade Push against a laser game 2. Apparently, because we're back at Valencia, where we've not had an offline event since 2018, players are playing older builds. It's just how it works.
Yeah, exactly. It's if we could turn back time. That's that song by that singer that sings that song.
Thank you, Steadfast. Well done. I'm so proud of you. Excellent reference. Haha, cultural reference. I get it.
Aha, cultural references. Feeling relevant about things you say to other humans. Oh.
It's not me.
No. It's all of it's Valencia.
Oh no, wait. Okay. Let's get out of game while we wait. Now I gotta go check the mainstream.
That's the mainstream.
Oh no, it's the venue.
Oh no.
Wait, no. Yeah.
All right, we're here.
Hey,
we're the mainstream now.
Yeah.
I declare.
Oh, we're back. Okay.
Oh, we're back. Okay.
Let me bring that back in.
Yeah. All right, we're all good. ESL referee B get wrecked, I guess.
ESL referee B ruined the entire broadcast. It ruined the main broadcast. Held up our game. Everything else. ESL referee B. I cannot believe what they've done this day.
By the way, this is going to be basically a one base all in out of uThermal. He did not stop mining gas. He is going to be building the starport right away. He's going to build either a Liberator or a Medevac here. and is going to try and get a hell of a lot of damage done. And you know what? This is the kind of build that if you think that ByuN is a little bit shaky today, which he does seem to be, at least a little bit shaky, this is the kind of build that can absolutely steal a win. This is the kind of thing that could send uThermal into the next stage of the playoffs. We'll have to see how ByuN can handle this.
Ooh, I do like the Liberator as well. This is not the version of a honestly, normally I would expect this to be proxied with the units that are coming on out, but Reapers, Hellions, Liberator just to really hold a ramp. ByuN will have a Cyclone, which is nice. At least that will allow him to maybe knock the Liberator down, but Steadfast, I feel like in this setup, we want to see multiple Cyclones. I really don't want to see him move into the Cyclone into tank idea that he used to try to prevent damage in that game 1.
Yeah, unfortunately, he has not yet confirmed that his opponent is gone for Command Center here. Now, something that could be actually a really big problem for uThermal is if he doesn't check the ramp, if he goes in a big cluster and eats a big Widowmine shot, this could be quite the problem.
Oh, God. Okay, good split.
Okay.
But even that,
Yeah.
oh wait, actually no, there's no wall. There's no second supply depot there, so everything just runs on in. Liberator's gonna look to siege upon the Cyclone. Cyclone's got to find his way out of range, and there we go. It's okay. Okay, he's okay. And look at the arrest. 6 workers go down, sure, but everything of uThermal is dead. And what a hold from ByuN.
That was so good under the gun. That surround was exactly what the doctor ordered. If he doesn't get the surround, the Cyclone goes down, the Liberator does not go down. It stays alive for a very long period of time. And things get very messy as we've now got uThermal with a... How is it that uThermal?
I don't know. I'm assuming that it's shout out. We talk about shout outs to old games. uThermal, when he kicked the internet cable, he pulled a Marine King and said, "No, we're gonna do it again," which of course is not what happened, and we have resumed from replay anyways. But I do think it's interesting that it is mainstream's down again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand how ByuN doesn't appear on the thing. Is my confusion, but I mean, we're probably gonna have to resume from replay. ByuN's in a good spot. He just held off a really scary push. We'll see, but yeah.
I gotta say, I'm sorry, everyone. We had the exact same issue on the B stream 6 hours ago. And it just migrated. It took about 6-8 hours, however long it's been, to migrate across the Atlantic and find its way to Valencia, and the bug has been caught. So mainstream should disconnect one more time for a more extended period of time, and then we're all going to be good, because that's what happened last time, right?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Absolutely. And that is how things work. We've talked about it already ad nauseum. It's a series of tubes. The internet, it's how does it work? Internet goes in, internet goes out. Hey, you can't explain that. It's just
Mercury's in retrograde. Weird? There's a massive solar flare. It happens.
The sun was in my eyes. Yeah.
From the middle of a convention center.
Exactly. Into the Inu, just like sends a little emote.
Oh wait, I'm sorry, I forgot the tier in my emote. There we go.
Yep, the tier is important.
It really is. Hello, if anyone is joining us from the mainstream, we also don't have games because we're sitting in a drop situation because uThermal has not been able to reconnect just yet. And we're finally the game was given to ByuN, but of course. That does not mean that ByuN won the game. It just means we're going to resume from replay once things get figured out.
Yeah, exactly. Looking at the DreamHack Valencia player list right now, there are a lot of people who are no longer in the chat channel. I can tell you that much for free.
Well,
because we're just going to be waiting for a little bit.
The funny thing is, it's not all of them. It's everyone but Trigger.
Yeah, right. I see that. I see Trigger. I see Rex. Although Rex is not at the event.
No, Rex, I believe, is casting for the Taiwanese stream. I don't think he's at.
Oh yeah, so it's literally just Trigger. I guess Trigger wins by technical knockout. The Canadian player winning with internet.
Yeah, you know what? It's one thing for the B stream to go down for 20 minutes as the internet falls. It's another for the entire venue to go down, which is a far bigger problem.
I am really confused by the fact that Trigger is still online. That's what has me like so confused.
I don't know. I'm surprised we don't have ByuN. You know, because
yeah, that was weird too, because he didn't show up as one of the people that disconnected.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see any of the like. There's no caster account. No on-site caster accounts either. So it's just Trigger.
Yeah, you know, I mean, by the power vested in me. Oh, damn it! I was just about to give him the trophy. Well, okay, Trigger, it's all over. This was your chance. You lost it. Golden opportunity, missed it.
I was about to go and message Trigger. I'm like, hey, you know, how's it feel to be the champion? Or, you know, what's happening really is more important. And he's dead. He's gone. He's back.
Oh.
So we'll see if we can get some. Oh, and looks like our observers are back. Are they?
I don't think so.
No,
those are all just people that are covering from outside.
No. I have ESL English obs, like the ESL observer accounts. So they show us like, oh no, okay, that's just a bug. Because they're showing us offline for a while, but they also had in-game and away. So.
Yeah, I love playing that roulette game of what does this status actually mean in StarCraft 2? Are they actually out of game offline, or is it just saying that they've been doing something for 2 hours like a broken GPS? And you know what? Blizzard's a small indie company. They couldn't do any better. They're doing their best.
Oh, it feels
we
bad.
Believe in them.
C&D streams were looking for games, and it's just the response is, you won't have one. We're experiencing massive IT issues. All matches impacted. Ugh.
Oof. I do like the concept of asking. Oh, that's like an old message. Okay, that's a message from like 20 minutes ago.
Well,
the response comes in.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Huh?
No. Sorry, I thought. Yeah, I was like, no. Our admin's response is 2 minutes ago, but you were talking about the question. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, the question was asked quite some time ago. But yeah, hope everybody's enjoying the tournament so far. While we're here, let's give a little recap on what has gone on so far. Beowulf and I have lost our sanity, as is tradition here for the DreamHack Masters any event where we wake up at 6 a.m. Tomorrow it's 4 a.m.
No, it's 3 a.m. wake up. Well,
oh crap, you're right.
It starts at 4 a.m.
I mean, if I fall asleep at the computer, I can technically wake up at like 3:57.
No, Steadfast. I need to bother you with audio checks that we don't really need because the setup is the same. But if I'm suffering, you're suffering. Solidarity.
That's true. That's very true. But we've got so far the players that have made it through. We've got Clem making it through in first place of his group. Raynor making it first place of his group with a very surprising and shocking result. A 2-0 over DNS with Zerg. A 2-0 over Solar with Protoss. God, he's awesome. I love Raynor.
He is my favorite Italian Zerg whose name starts with R and ends with Aner. There we go. No bias. No bias, because we all know that the worst possible thing that you can do as a caster is show any sorts of bias whatsoever, even if it's just for storylines. But yeah, Raynor, that's really cool. Winning one Zerg match, one Protoss. Trigger tells me that it's back. Well, Trigger's saying it's back now, but there's literally no one else back, so I remain unconvinced. So hopefully we'll be getting back in the game soon enough. But yeah, Steadfast, Group C as well. I know you mentioned that Nightmare was up 1-0. Well, in the period of time that we were in game 1, Estrella won 2 games. So Estrella gets out in second place, 2-1 there in the requisite all Protoss group.
Nice. That's a pretty great result for Estrella. Already into, what does second place put you into? Okay, I have this. Second place advances to the playoffs round of 24. So Estrella is already guaranteed to the round of 24. Continuing what we were saying before, or I guess what I was saying before. Clem, Rainer, Creator, Dark, Lambo, Ragnarok, Neeb, and Maru are already into the round of 16. So they're basically as far as you can get from this group stage. And then players that are into the round of 24 are Hearthstone, Solar, Estrella, Bunny, Hero Marine, DRG, and then we're waiting on Scarlet versus Hero and the match we were just in, which is uThermal versus ByuN. And the winners of those two will advance to the round of 24. I suppose the winners or the losers of the other ones, losers of those matches will get knocked down to, I guess, a round of 32. For all intents and purposes, it's the round of 32. Although it's called the knockout bracket round of 6. It's the round of 32, I think. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, we'll make it work. And if you're wrong, well, I'm gonna go along with you anyways, and go from there. So it's funny. I'm being told 2 stories, by the way, not to get off what's actually happening. I'm being told 2 stories about what's happening. Trigger is saying it's back up. We're fine, and the admins are telling me massive IT issues at the venue, no ETA, we don't have anyone up. So. You mentioned it, trigger magic. It's working out.
Yeah, Trigger, he's channeling that Canada Day magic. He's actually just sucking the internet out of the Upside Down and is just somehow like channeling it. He's like, yeah, it's okay, guys. Yeah. It's like, Trigger, no, everything's on fire currently. And he's like, no, it's fine. We're all good. Go. He just wants to get declared the winner. And you know what? It's a bold strategy. I like it. We'll see if it works out for him.
Yeah, so Steadfast, actually, I'm going to need you to do me a favor and to talk about something for about 30 seconds. I will be right back. We need to celebrate what's happening. I'll be right back.
All right, sounds good. So the number of things that I can talk about for 30 seconds is innumerable and insurmountable. Because there's an art to talking without saying anything. It's something that's not easy. It's not hard, but it's somewhere in between. You know, sometimes you have yourself struggling for words to get them out, a la Michael Scott.
Well, Steadfast, congratulations on channeling your inner Seinfeld, telling a story about telling a story. But I just felt the need. I finally got it out. I got my. I know it's not Canadian maple syrup. I'm really sorry, but I live in New Hampshire and we have Vermont maple syrup. But we got to celebrate Canada today a little bit. So I got myself some maple syrup. It's tasty, and that was really an incredible prop. That was an incredible prop to make use of.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's the perfect prop, in fact. Yeah, it's Canada Day. We're here to celebrate Trigger's victory. I can't believe he got 17 straight walkovers all the way to a championship. It's insane. It's unprecedented. $15,000 and 1,500 EPT points. And because there was no contest all the way up there, he's just going to take home the rest of the prize pool too. 100K. Easy peasy. And I don't know, like 2,800 EPT points. Man, really great weekend for Trigger. He's doing well. Happy Canada Day to Trigger.
You know what? When things are going wrong, sometimes that was drinking pure maple syrup is really not recommended. I got the sugar burn going. But you know what? Sometimes when you need to fill time, you acquiesce to Twitch chat. As I had multiple people after bringing that up, by the way, messaging me on Discord saying, "What the hell is with this knockoff maple syrup? It's not Canadian. How dare you?" Well, that I'm saying, Vermont maple syrup is just better.
Wow. Oh boy, that's How do I unplug someone else's internet through the
Oh, uThermal's back.
through the ether? Oh, speaking of which, it seems that accursed statement you just made somehow has caused some kind of karmic shift that the internet has slipped through.
You're welcome.
The tectonic plates have, moved about.
Okay. Yeah, no, there's a tweet out from DreamHack, but it is just saying what we already knew. Things are coming. So yes, uThermal is back. Yeah, we're starting to see players pop it back in. Botvinnik, Bunny, no ByuN just yet, but players continue to arrive. So we're gonna be fine. Yes, there we go. Chugging maple or drinking some maple syrup. I did not chug. I'm not that sick. Chugging maple syrup and insulting Canada as a whole. Which of course, Steadfast, you're aware as a Canadian that the U.S. has a strategic oil reserve. Canada has a strategic maple syrup reserve. In the case of a bad harvest, because that is just what is the most important for you all, apparently.
Oh yeah, I stand by that 100%. That's a crucial aspect of Canadian culture. We constantly move it around. It's in one of those cubes that it technically exists in another plane of existence. It's kind of like the Phantom Zone. So it's a very closely guarded secret. So we would politely ask you to not say where it is if you don't mind.
Nope. I'm going to round up some moose and I'm going to go invade the Canadian Maple Syrup Reserve.
How did you know that's how you get in?
Because
Who
we have moose up.
told you?
I live like an hour from the border, Steadfast. I'm not quite, maybe an hour and a half. I'm not quite as Canadian as you can be while still being an American, but at least I live close enough that I'm familiar with the meese, which is, of course, the plural of moose. And if you're going to tell me that the plural of moose is moose, you're actually correct, but I prefer meese.
I like meese too. I think it's very, I think it's very descriptive, and it gets the point across, But yeah, once again, update. We are getting the internet back. People are here. Somewhere, Emil, I think he's just been tased, and I think that has undone whatever EMP he's put on the venue, whatever kind of witchcraft. I don't know if he's a male witch or if he just emits an EMP wherever he goes, but I think we've managed to take care of it, and we should be getting back to the games pretty shortly.
Yep. The head admin is telling us that no ET just yet, but people are coming back. So we're gonna get everything done tonight. We hope that's their plan. Which means I thought we were gonna be done an hour ago, Steadfast, even with some schedule slip. But massive technical issues. They cause some wonderful problems. But also it gives us an opportunity to learn about the Canadian not oil reserve, maple syrup reserve, and armies of meese.
Yes. Well, I mean, technically, it's more of like a regiment, because it's just it's the Royal Canadian Meese.
I mean, not gonna lie though, one of the most most picturesque things that I've seen when I was working up in Maine, up in like the Northwoods of Maine. I was on the Appalachian Trail, which for those of you that are not aware is this big hiking trail that goes from like northern Maine down to southern Georgia and just the entirety of the U.S. East Coast. And we were on the last little bit of it right before right on the footsteps of the final mountain, and it's night. It's getting sunset, so like 9 o'clock at night. And it was in August, and we come upon this lake, and there's just a moose that is probably shoulder deep. So it's a deep enough lake. And then the sun is setting behind this big mountain, so there's this triangular shadow and the moose in the deep red sky, and it was it was beautiful. I guess that's one way to say it.
Nice. I was expecting like some kind of punchline, like and then the moose owed me tree fitty for the Loch Ness monster. He got me again. It wasn't a moose. It was a 50-foot Loch Ness monster. But no, that's quite lovely. It's honestly the Canadian and American wilderness are quite beautiful sometimes. That's you love to see that. You love to see some stories disconnecting from the video games. Just kidding. Why would you ever do that? Play StarCraft instead.
Well, let's be real. A lot of the players have disconnected from the video games here this afternoon. And that's why we're talking about nothing for however long it takes for us to get the players back into it. Because remember, we're sitting halfway through a best of 3. uThermal is up 1, and ByuN just had an incredible hold. He had an incredible hold in game 2 to put himself in a pretty significant lead, but ByuN had times where he was ahead in game 1 as well. That doesn't really mean the game is over. But it looks like Scarlet... Oh, wait, no. People are asking if Scarlet is here. Scarlet is... It's Steadfast. I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like we're going to have the issue where everyone's logging into BNet all at once again.
Oh, no, please no. Oh, God. Oh, that would be so funny and awful.
Because we're seeing like half the players are in.
Mm-hmm.
But not all of them. So I'm worried. I really hope not. Please keep me alive.
Give me that hopium. Put it in my veins. Fingers crossed that everything will work out and, you know, there's no problems and we're all gumdrops and
ByuN's here.
gummy bears and... Oh, yeah, ByuN and uThermal are here, so that's good. So we can resume our series. The show must go on for us. But yeah, sorry, to somebody asked in the chat about geese. Yes, Canadian geese are less of like an organized militia or like armed forces for the government, so much as they are like a street gang that just covers the entire country. Going around causing a ruckus. They poop in places that they're not welcome to, and they will attack you if... That's it. They just will attack you if...
Yes, if you exist and you're within some distance of them, you're in for a bad time. It's very, very, very sad. But
well,
sorry, it's not sad for the geese.
I was going to say, it's technically not that sad of a time, especially for the geese. But if you can manage to defeat them in combat, you actually do gain their trust and or their leadership. It depends on what kind of geese. There's lots of different kinds of, subcultures of geese. There's, of course, the geesin, the goosin, which is, a member of Team Liquid, and the gausin. But we don't often see the gausin. The goosin has, in fact, moved over to the Netherlands, and mostly we see the geesin in, native Canada for the most part. So that's really what we'd see.
Steadfast, you talk about defeating geese, though. And I feel like birds are the least effective thing to defeat because they can still float and they can still fly without their feet. And that they're still equally scary. I mean, a goose running at you at like shin height, flying right at you with a beak outstretched. I don't think... Oh. They're recovering 5 seconds before. Is that when the hold is still happening?
I think it had already fully gone through at that point. I'm pretty sure he'd already fully dealt with it. I hope so at any rate, because
that is really...
At the very least, he had a full surround, and I think he was in a good state. Like, I think at the very least, I think he'd basically neutered any attack. But if there is a situation where, let's say, the SCVs don't have an attack command, that could get a little bit funky. We're gonna see. We can speculate all we want, but yeah, it's we're gonna have to get in here and see.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why they did that, but that is potentially series changing. I don't really know what's going to happen. We're going to find out in just a second. This game doesn't take all that long to recover because, of course, it is, well, it wasn't that long of a game to begin with. So we're going to get into it. Let me steal your...
Oh, yeah, we're good. Yeah. It had already...
Good. And let's get in to it again.
Oh, wait, what the?
What?
This is way too early. Somebody done goofed about this. uThermal just saying, I'll do it myself. I was like, wait a minute. Why is the units lost 0 on both sides?
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute. There's nothing on ByuN's side of the map. This is, ByuN had an incredible hold. You would hate to see him lose it again.
Yeah, uThermal just gets to do it again. He keeps Groundhog Daying the game and going over and over again. I've got Bill Murray powers.
That he does. Or who knows? I mean, that's a fun idea at the very least.
Bill
Okay.
Murray powers, but they only apply to StarCraft 2 games. Cyril just like you keep walking up onto the stage of the grand finals, and he just has this confused look on his face. He's like, I can't help but feel like I've got the deja vu. As I rock the worst possible Cyril accent I could ever have thrown out in this time. Hopefully this time we will get into the correct time of the game, but we'll see in just a little sec.
I cross my fingers. I cross my second set of fingers. I cross my thumbs. I'm crossing my toes because I want to start. I don't want to have to worry about this anymore. You know, I don't want chat to bully me into drinking out of it again. So we're gonna get into game 2, part 3. I think part 4, part 3, and hopefully we'll be getting back into it. We're gonna get the recovery going. Steadfast. As we get into this, what does uThermal have to keep in mind as he tries to make a comeback happen?
I thought you were going to say, what does the fox say?
Doot.
That's the exact same answer. So yeah, either way, answer is weed up. As I learned recently from a Hearthstone SC Today video. He's such an entertainer. He's a wonderful guy. I love him. But yeah, no, what he needs to do right here, I mean, I'm going to have to get back into the game to remember the exact game state. And okay, yeah, so we did literally just finished basically this period of turbulence.
All right. That is good news. So let's reset ourselves. Where are we in this game right now? uThermal, we went for the 1-1-1, ran across the map. Command Center finishing up just now. He lost 5 Reapers, 4 Hellions, and a Liberator. In exchange, he killed 6 SCVs and a little bit of tech, but realistically, it was for those 6 SCVs, which really was not worth it, or at least does not feel like it's worth it, considering, well, everything else that ByuN has. So where do we have to go here from uThermal? I think we started that question, but now that we're in game, we can maybe think about it a little more.
I think, look at how wounded up a lot of these SCVs are. I think this is the kind of situation where maybe you go for a follow-up drop and try and get something done once again. Meanwhile, we are going to see ByuN coming in on the other side of the map. uThermal, great pull right here on his SCVs. He didn't lose a single SCV. Oh, as I say that, he pulled back just a tiny bit too early as that poor SCV floats to the surface, and well, they're going to be wondering why was there an entire space construction vehicle on the bottom of the ocean? Well, and how does it float?
I mean, trapped gas. Trapped air. Something. I don't know. I'm technically an engineer, but I don't really have a good answer for that one, Steadfast. But ByuN, he understands the tempo lead that he has in this game off of that. He has a tank. Well, his opponent has a tank too, but there's a Raven there, so that really doesn't matter all that much. He's got a Cyclone, and maybe he's going to make something happen, but it seems like he's going to think better of it, say, you know what? No, I'm not really going to. I'm going to kill a support command, or wow, a supply depot, and actually that will supply block uThermal for a bit, but other than that, ByuN, third base on the way. Certainly, again, uThermal, we see him going for a rather quick stim for the game state that he's in. And we're going to have to see whether he's going to be able to make anything happen with that.
Yeah. I mean, if you're ByuN, don't try and force the issue. Just be happy with the lead that you've got. Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. Don't go chasing waterfalls. That's a different map, and he did already lose that one, so you definitely don't want to go back there. But I think at this point, you definitely want to slow the game down a little bit as uThermal. He is actually down 1 Raven. He's going to be up a little bit, like half a cycle of Viking production, maybe a little bit more than that. But his production is later. His NG bays are going to be later. I don't know. I'm not really too sure what uThermal can do to catch up so much as just drag the game out. I think that's his best option.
Well, I'm pretty sure all he's got to do is boil down some tomatoes with some vinegar and whatever else goes into ketchup, and that's a great way to catch up. But that's not what you're talking about in this game. Realistically, right? uThermal, is that No, okay, that's just his second and third barracks. Oh man, he's going to 5 racks, but 5 racks is really not great again in TVT. Is now ByuN spilling on the map here right as uThermal's trying to take the third base. Good luck. Oh, never mind. It's a lock on a Marine. Thought it was on a Cyclone or on a Viking. I don't know that ByuN is going to be able to get too much done here, actually. I mean, he gets a scan. He says he knows what's up, but he doesn't have a lot of pushing power necessarily, not just yet. The Viking counts are roughly even. You talked about the Raven, but 10 counts are equal. And because uThermal has already sieged up around this third base, he already has that space held. Well, it's kind of hard to make that. But as uThermal goes and moves out on the map here, that's a very dead Marine.
Yeah, that is a Marine that paid the iron price in order to make sure that the rest of the army did not die. He really drew the short straw there. We're going to see these 5 Marines on the top side. Well, they're just going to be... Oh, boy, they are getting picked off by this Cyclone. And some good positioning, actually, from uThermal. ByuN is a little bit late to respond to this, and he's going to lose this one tank. uThermal is getting a great position on his opponent, but the interference matrices are going to come on down, and ByuN is going to be able to clean this up. And uThermal, he says, no, I cannot. This was not a good position for me. It would have been great if there was not 3 Ravens ready to go, but ByuN got those requisite interference matrices and absolutely sweeps the fight.
Exactly. ByuN said, thank you very much for those. And, oh, I'm sorry, that was low-hanging fruit. But ByuN, once again, he is actually playing the maximum number of games in this series. As it looks like we're going to be a little bit of a delay into game number 3. ByuN's asked to go to the restroom. So when we're back, we're going to find out what the what map 3 is going to be. But that was a game where uThermal was trying to find something, make something happen, and it really didn't work. That was such an incredible hold from ByuN, really. When the Reapers and the Hellions found their way in, and with the Liberator sieging up, it really did feel like that was going to be a game-ending position. But Cyclone just had like 5 HP left as it was able to knock the Liberator down.
Yeah, it was very low on HP. The surround with those SCVs was so huge. That was a really crucial moment, and it's really a game-changing moment, I would say, because if that Cyclone goes down and it can't kill off the Liberator, things are so much messier trying to clean that up. It's a nightmare.
That it is. So game 3 is inside and out.
Upside down and around the bend.
Yeah, full of dumpster fires, much as my jokes in this broadcast are full of similar things. Looks like Hero, by the way of updates, because that is important. There are very few matches happening right now in the actual group stage. We are doing knockout brackets, and in fact, after this, we will be doing knockout bracket round 5. So we start. We're looking at. It's 5 o'clock. The broadcast started at 6 a.m. and we're probably not done before 6 p.m. 12-hour broadcast days, folks. That's just the glory of offline events. But it does look like Hero's in a pretty good spot against Scarlet in game number 2, so that might go to game 3 as well, which is always that's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's looking very likely. In fact, we don't know anything more about the knockout bracket yet, right? I don't think we know who the players are that are supposed to be playing,
where they go. Well, we do have a full slate of knockout brackets waiting opponents.
Yes. Okay.
So Gerald, Trigger, Vindictive for Jumi, Piglet. Who, by the way, Piglet took down Patty Mac.
Oh,
not bad. Fighting Frog, Dolan, and Night Phoenix are all awaiting their opponents, which I believe those already should be. Am I correct? No, those should be known. Those should be the 4th place from every single. But no, we haven't determined. We haven't finished all of the round. This group stage 3. So
yeah, but we already know who 4th place is for every group.
Yeah, but I guess they're trying to wait to sort them all, so you don't have, say, 4th place of this group set playing into 3rd place of group set from dropping down.
Maybe,
but you can still do that. Actually, you can still do that. So I'm not really sure what the holdup is.
Yeah, I'm not too sure either. But I mean, I just work here, you know.
Yeah.
I just.
Yeah, I don't know. And the ESL website is really not easy to track. It has a bunch of autofilled SC2 player N to try to make things happen, but we know nothing, John Steadfast. We know nothing. John Fast? There we go. But folks, now for the last time, maybe, or certainly the last time in Group Stage 3, we still have more series to go after that, folks. It is going to be ByuN uThermal. And, of course, in the bottom left, alright, he took game 1, but a fantastic hold by his opponent knocked him out of game 2. It is uThermal.
And spawning up at the top right, looking to complete another comeback from a 1-0 deficit for the Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. That was a really, really scary situation that he found himself in at the beginning of game number 2 and also at the very end of game number 2. And he was able to handle both of them extraordinarily well. You know, if uThermal does get into a great position, kind of uncontested there, things get really, really scary for ByuN. But ByuN was able to answer the move of uThermal. uThermal felt like he was a little bit desperate. He was behind in that game for sure. And ByuN evens the series. Good job.
That he does. So now we move into game 3. No gas first, double gas, 1-on-1, 1 all-ins coming from uThermal. Barracks Double Gas Factory is the name of the game for these two players, which it makes a lot of sense, right? You go for the most stable build, game 3. You've had an all-in work, or you've had pressure work. You've had it kind of not work. Even the game it worked, didn't really work all that well. So when all the chips are on the table, all other pithy casterisms about this being the final game in a series is whenever all the backs are against the wall, all the chips are down, whatever else we want to say, you go something maybe a little bit more standard and hope to clutch it out in the mid to late game, because realistically uThermal was even in the mid game and he just found one big advantage, one big fight that allowed him to take that game.
Yeah, and he made some really, really smart plays after some nice moves that he wasn't able to end a game with. But he got himself ahead economically. He made some really, really solid quality moves in the late game that really, really helped him ice that game out. And it was cool to see. It was interesting because he found himself in a pretty good position and then didn't do as much with it as I think we both would have liked to have seen him do. But then he was able to still make some really, really nice fights happen.
That he was. So actually, we do have a bit of a deviation. Really, uThermal taking a page out of Cure's book where he gets the one Reaper to make sure he doesn't, die to anything too crazy. And then he gets a Reactor, and then he starts reactoring his Reapers out, which really doesn't change the balance of Reaper Hellion mounts in this early game, unless uThermal goes up to 5, which I doubt. But what it does mean is, oh, no, he does. Okay. He will commit heavier to this early game aggression than Terran might normally do. So instead of 3 Reaper 2 Hellion, it's 5 Reaper 3 Hellion. And if he catches ByuN in a tech transition, that can at least knock ByuN away from his natural.
Yeah, it can be really, really scary to deal with. But what a lot of players have started doing is this, which is putting a Widow Mine at the front. You're guaranteed a unit kill, so at the very least you trade out. And you see it, you keep your ramp safe. And it gives you time to respond, and it's pretty good against this. So uThermal, he is going to be looking to get something done against this. We expect that he should be able to split against this Widow Mine, but ByuN, he's going to be fine, and he's going to be a little bit ahead on tech. That 5 Reaper 3 Hellion, the big cost is that it does slow down your tech.
Oh, okay, yeah. Again, good split. It gets very close every time, but with the Hellion going down, I mean, still Steadfast. 5 Reapers is a lot of Reapers, but it looks like for now, yeah, uThermal, as you said, he's going to not be able to get much done, but we got to remember, Game 1, it was not the Reapers that found value in the early game. It was when they jumped in at the 6-minute mark and killed 10 workers, and suddenly you're like, okay, well, there's the value you're looking for.
Yeah, and that is always a threat. That's something you have to be very, very mindful of. Now, I think in this particular game, ByuN is going to be a little bit more on top of it. It was kind of a weird situation in game number 1. Nice zone grenade right there from uThermal saying, hey, get the hell out of my face. And he does.
No. First of all, that player doesn't play Terran. Second of all, that's a mispronunciation. It's Zaun. No matter what the GSL intro voice has to say, it's not Zone. So thank you, Steadfast, for that. But he's not playing in this tournament.
I was confused as to what you were referencing, but
Yeah, like, okay, that's a stretch because no one says zone except for the GSL intro announcer, like when he's playing Alpha X zone.
that is a weird one. I never picked up on that. That's so funky.
Yeah.
We are going to be seeing, by the way, the quicker transition into Vikings from ByuN. So he's going to stop at just a single Raven. Actually, wait, they're not both stopping it. No, yeah. uThermal did get up to a double Raven setup. So ByuN might try and push with the faster Vikings. We'll see. See if it decides to go for something aggressive.
It's always a bit scary when you stop at one Raven, though, because, yeah, maybe you have more Vikings and can push more, but if you're not able to zone the Ravens out properly, then you lose every little bit of tech you have, and it really does become scary. That, and of course, you have less harassment ability early. Auto turrets are just such effective tools against SCVs in the early to mid game, but here we go. uThermal, you talked about ByuN looking to push. Well, uThermal says, I have 2 Ravens. I will party. In fact, I would like to party. That sounds like a lot of fun, but now moving forward, gets a scan off, says, okay, there's the army of ByuN. At least there's part of the army of ByuN, but ByuN, the rest of his army here he's going to be able to see what this is happening. So Cyclone looking for a lock-on, does not find it, but now ByuN knows where uThermal is coming from, so he can set up his defense appropriately.
Yeah, that's very, very important in TVT. I mean, at all aspects of the game, you want to know where your opponent's army is, but in the early game there's really no point in the game when you can let your opponent get a free siege up in certain positions. If that happens in the right place, that can just be lights out. So it is always worthwhile to make sure you have those scans available in the important moments to know where your opponent's army is. And they both were able to keep track of that. uThermal not walking into a meat grinder, ByuN not getting brutally outpositioned.
Oh, man. But, man, the product of a meat grinder sounds good, Steadfast. You know, I haven't had a burger in a while. That sounds really nice to go pop on the grill, but certainly that's a different meat grinder than we have here. Is now again uThermal looking to run forward. ByuN, he does have his third base ready. He can always just kind of lift up and run away, but with Cyclones and Vikings here, Marines trying to get under this, ByuN has to be very careful about this. Oh, okay, so Orbital takes 50% of its HP. Vikings look to run forward, but every time the Vikings shoot at that means they're not shooting at the Vikings of ByuN here, which does mean ByuN will be able to take a positive Viking trade for now, as he's really actually pretty heavily zoned out by those auto. Look at this auto turret placement, but the Raven does fall. A couple SCVs dying as well as yeah, there we go. We're gonna have Reapers in the high ground, and that's gonna be, well, actually it's not gonna find nearly as much because auto turret has a lot to say about that one. ByuN, how does he, it looks like he wants to break this, but I don't know. Marines, they run on in. The Vikings are just gonna land on top of this, and that should, oh, it's not gonna be enough. The Marines are too damn strong here. ByuN, he's overstepped in this game, losing every single bit of his army here. And yeah, the supplies are somewhat equal, but he's going to lose the third base too. This is such a disaster.
He botched that engagement so brutally. That was so painful for ByuN. And now the Vikings land so late, but he only ends up losing 2 or 3 of them, or 1 or 2 of them. And now uThermal, off the back of that victory, is